you all for showing up. This is such a phenomenal turnout. I am so excited to get everyone in the same room to talk about the people we're trying to help. So this is fantastic, and I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this. The restrooms are in the middle of the makerspace and has a giant M and a giant W on it. So feel free to slip out anytime you need to. The food is obviously going well. If you signed up for food, help yourself to a sandwich or a salad and one for cookies. I am here to introduce our four speakers, the person that donated the space to us, and then each of you will have an opportunity to stand up and tell us about your organization, what you're working on, what you might need help with. But we're going to have to go fairly quick because we have a lot of people here. This is fantastic. So the first person I want to introduce is Pam Newton. She is an interior designer, beautiful, and her husband is Air Force, her son is Air Force. So when I reached out to look for a space, because Signature never has enough space to hold their events, she graciously said, let's be your partner. So tell everyone about your makerspace.
Hi, okay, so this is Design Works, where you are right now, and if you've heard anything about the movements happening in Kansas City with co-working spaces, that's what this turned out to be. I was hired to do the interior design of iWorks, which is across the street by Chicken and Pickle. And when I was doing it, I'm a big treasure hunter, and I like to find reclaimed and salvage things and paint, and I was getting all this stuff, and my husband couldn't park in the garage anymore, and I was talking to one of the owners, and I said, you know, I'm looking for a warehouse space that I can just store my stuff, but it has to be heated because I need to paint, need some lighting, I need to rinse my paintbrushes. So he had this space, and it was the whole interior over there that you see literally had one tenant at the time, which was these guys who create, it's called Groove Washer. They actually make the handles that clean your LPs and records, because that's coming back now. So we came up with the concept. He was curious if there's more people like me that need space to work and be creative, and so this is it's a co-working space for creatives, basically. So it's not so much retail, although we do lots of little flea markets and stuff in here about 4 times a year. And so that's who we are, and I got lucky enough to meet Brenda, and I think you had come over and we met here, and of course you saw the flag, which I found in one of my barn picks. This old gentleman had it wrapped up, covered, in mint condition. That was such a score. So I hired my husband on one of his off days to come over and help me hang it. And yeah, he's former military, or still military. He's a former Marine. He flew the Harrier and a bunch of other different jets that I could go on with. But now he's a lieutenant colonel up at the Missouri Air Guard and flies the C-130s. And our son is in the unit as well. He's a loadmaster in the back. So military is very near and dear to our heart, and that's our other family. Everybody in the unit is our family, and all the guys that go back to the Marines. So I'm happy you guys could use the space. I hope you use it again and again, and welcome, enjoy, and this is awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Pam.
Yeah, you bet.
Feel free to eat.
Thank you, honey. Okay. Thanks, I'll squeeze right. Thank you.
Two other things I wanted to tell. I put these red packets together the best I could. This is the first effort to get everyone that serves the military, first responder population into the same room. I know I've missed people. I might have wrong phone numbers, but I gave it my best go. So this sheet, which is in your red packets, has everyone that registered to participate in this event. My email is at the bottom, so if you need something corrected, someone else's name instead of yours, or a different contact, please just email me and I'll correct it. If you don't receive one of these, just email me. My cards are out on the registration table, and I will send you one digitally. But I'd like to keep updating this so that everyone that is looking for help, if they are a veteran, first responder, or a family member of, can say, oh, here's who I need to go to and what they do, instead of floundering around, because there's so many of us in Kansas City trying to serve the same population. The next thing I want to just make a brief announcement. One of the reasons I think we're all here in the same room is that there are so many people hurting in the veteran first responder population. They're hurting, struggling with various issues, whether it's finding a job, finding a home, feeling grounded, feeling connected to the community, feeling whole, not feeling morally depressed or questioning some of their service time. Signature Psychiatric Hospital, which owns and runs the Valor Recovery Program, sees this every day. And when we lose someone in the community, it hurts us all. It hurts deeply. So one of the things that we're stepping forward doing this year is having a Life Fest. And I have one sheet on this because this is the brainchild behind the Life Fest, Kim Barlow, who runs our clinical side of our Valor Recovery Program. It's going to be a huge festival in English Landing Park in Parkville on September 14th of this year. We will be looking for people to have your materials out.
Yes.
We want to attract the entire community, but it'll be in part really focused on our veteran and first responder communities to prevent suicide. We're calling it the Life Fest because we want people to love their life again, to embrace their community again, to live and to not even have suicidal thoughts at all. So if you want more information about how this event is coming together, please talk to myself, Kim Barlow afterwards. I also wanted to introduce our two Valor Recovery Program liaisons. We have Jim Cunningham right here, who just started with us 90 days ago, and I just love him. He's so awesome. He has a phenomenal background. He was a firefighter. He was a police officer, and he was on broadcast radio for 20 years. So he makes the perfect liaison for our services. So if you need to ask any questions about Signature or Valor, grab Jim. We have another liaison in the back, kind of the snappy dresser in the wild pants. His name is Aaron Blair. He is military, Army. His dad was a colonel. He just joined us about 30 days ago to help us promote the Valor Recovery Program. There he is. There's the pants right there.
Yeah.
That's Aaron. So if you have any questions about military benefits getting into the program, you can ask Aaron afterwards. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over and let Kim Barlow tell you about the Valor Recovery Program.
Yay! Thank you all again for coming out. I don't know if you know anything about Valor, but we are at Signature Psychiatric Hospital. Formerly we were called STAR, and we were at Research Psychiatric Hospital. The Valor Recovery Program is designed for military and first responders. We do not accept any other patients outside of that because we've created a program that has a culture for military and first responders. From our director down, even some of the clinicians you'll meet and our techs and our nurses also carry some background, whether it's themselves or their family members. I've served in the military 6.5 years, deployed 3 times. You know, my last one was OIF. My director is a Marine veteran and also a former firefighter. So we want to make sure that the culture is set where you know you can talk to someone without talking about acronyms and you don't understand what it's like to be out on the streets or out in the field. We try to make sure that we bring that. It's a 28-day inpatient program, and I know for some it's scary when you say 28 days, right? But 28 days go very quickly. And it goes quickly because when you think about how long someone has suffered, you know, with any type of nightmares or depression, anxiety, stress on the job, unable to function every day, not being able to connect with your family members for years, we go through this. 28 days doesn't seem so long if I can walk out of the doors and feel like myself again. Over the 28 days, you will be assigned a psychiatrist. You'll see the psychiatrist every day. Every patient comes in and assigned a therapist, primary therapist, minimum of 2 individual sessions a week. Around the clock every day, 5 to 7 group therapy sessions. We keep our patients very, very busy. It's not a kumbaya, we sitting around and singing lovely songs. We are actually working on issues. Every group is very important. We also use prolonged exposure therapy. We take our patients outside of the building. They'll go to the movies, the museum, to the mall. We do that because we want to make sure that they understand how to live life again. Use your coping skills in a real environment, not a synthetic environment. You'd be surprised how many patients are shocked by the triggers that are, you know, they receive when they go out there just going to the mall. It may have been a place where they had a shootout or a shooting. And you have that therapist right there working with that patient right in front of a scene that they were at and saying, okay, let's work on your level of anxiety right now. What's going through your head? So prolonged exposure therapy is a big part of our program. Our patients also have access to the gym every single day. We are also partners with Zone 6, which is right down the street. every day, twice a day, they're permitted to go to the gym. It's a well-rounded program for 28 days. Once the 28 days is up, we do what's called a step-down partial hospitalization program for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, you come in 8:30 in the morning, you leave about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 to 5 p.m. And throughout that time, you're still getting every group around the clock. You still get the psychiatrist, the therapist, but what's more important is you get to go home and actually use the skills at home. And when you have problems reintegrating back into your family, you still have us there to support you with that step down. We prepare you to return to work. Our program is not to say you can't go to work anymore, okay? Our whole goal is to get you back functioning to the highest level of yourself you could possibly be. And so in those 2 weeks, after we've gotten through all those horrible mental boxes of scary stuff, we send you back to work, ready to work, and ready and prepared. Now, I know there's questions about Valor, as Valor is fairly new to Signature Psychiatric Hospital, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have, but I will tell you it's one of the best programs I've ever seen. And I've been around quite a bit just from the military background, and also being a military spouse formerly. I've moved to a lot of places, I've had a lot of jobs. This is by far the top-notch program you could design for military and first responders. The care is individualized. It's tailored to a person. It's not cookie cutter. We don't just reach in a box and pull things out. We use cognitive processing therapy as a framework for our trauma, but we also use seeking safety for our substance track. So we treat addictions, we treat substance use, we treat depression, anxiety, PTSD, even just adjustment disorders when you're just moving and having a difficult time adjusting to a new position. So if you know of anyone that could benefit from our program, please feel free. My card is out there on the table. Give me a call, or you can even send me an email. My email is on there as well, and I'll be sure that I'm available afterwards to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Cameron.
Thanks.
All right. So, just so you know what's happening here, we're going to have our next speaker is Melissa from Warriors Best Friends speak. We're also going to have Sarah from Harvard University's Global Warrior Center speak. And after they speak, we're going to go around the room, and anyone that serves veterans will get to stand up and say who you are, what you do, and it'll just be a conversation. Then we'll break for networking. So let me introduce Melissa Chestnut with Warriors Best Friend.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming. I think that we're resoundingly so happy that so many of you came out and are interested in this topic. So, as Brenda said, my name is Melissa Chestnut. I'm the Director of Philanthropy for Warriors Best Friend Foundation. We are a nonprofit based here in the Kansas City area, actually Liberty, and we train service dogs for veterans. This is Anna, our celebrity. So if you see pictures, like she goes around to all of our appearances. She actually was our very first service dog trained by our trainer, Bella. And we actually rescue 100% of our dogs. So that's our different model of training based off of rescuing the dogs from area shelters like Great Plains, Wayside Waves, the Humane Society, KC Pet Project. So we have great relationships with those organizations. And anyway, Anna was trained, and Bella 6.5 years ago went to Canine for Warriors, which is one of the preeminent groups in the United States that does this kind of work in Jacksonville, Florida, to train with them. And then she came back to the Midwest with her dad, Joe, and they actually formed Warriors Best Friend. So we have 65 acres of property, and part of that is our training facility. We also developed part of that into a grass cross-country course. So if you've ever are a runner or a walker and you want to do something out in the outdoors, we have a beautiful property in North Liberty that we love to have people come out, and we actually host events out there as well. One of the things that we do is our dogs, after we rescue them, they come to our facility. We train for 6 to 8 months. They learn 25 commands that are a part of the ADI compliance test. And 4 of those are specific for PTSD or traumatic brain injury. So that is what we train for. And our dogs are then placed with their veteran. We have an application process, and we work with multiple groups like Valor, the VA, anybody out on the street who may recommend their friend or their family member. We have an application process, and the first part of that is getting to know that person and their medical history and understanding with their VA doctor or their physician what's their history, what's their diagnosis, those types of things. We recognize we're not gonna solve everything, that's not what we're here for to do, but we really, as they have all said, we wanna acclimate people back into society and be able to hold a job, be able to go to the movies again. Those are situations we see time and time again when our veterans come, that they are scared out of their mind to go and do those types of things. They may have a traumatic brain injury. For example, we had 2 veterans that graduated at the Kansas City Royals game on Armed Forces Night last fall in September. They shot a cannon. I don't think that was very well thought out. Yeah, so they were out of their seat, like scared out of their mind. Anyway, their dog helps them with some of those training skills that their dog has learned. When the veteran is approved into our program, they come to our facility and they train for 9 days with their dog. As you can imagine, just like Valor, it's pretty intense for them to first be placed with a dog they've never met, and then they're outside of their home, outside of their environment, but those are the things that we work through with them over those 9 days of training. So after that 9-day, we usually have a graduation ceremony, and I would invite you, March 15th, we're having our first one of 2019 with our first veteran at the Kansas City Mavericks game. So we partnered with them for the last 4 months. We have one of our puppies. We don't normally take puppies on, but we were very nice to a veteran family that needed dogs to be rescued, that we have a one-runner puppy named Maeve who's out at the Mavericks, and she'll be officially graduating back into the actual training program. But Winter, our dog, will be graduated to our veteran at that game. So if anybody has any questions, we'll be sticking around for some time after this, but we would love to partner with any of you. That's our #1 goal for this year, and our challenge actually is getting enough veterans to apply for our program. So thank you.
And Hannah needs a break, though, but
Yeah,
take
come,
her.
yeah.
She liked you. She had the eyes on you. I want to introduce Brian Moore, who is with Caregivers on the Homefront. He's going to say a few words about supporting the caregivers, which we sometimes forget.
I am Brian Moore. Most of you know my wife, Sean Moore, who is a go-getter. What she's done is, we started saying, I've been through the Valor program, awesome program, helped me out a lot. But on the flip side of that, there's a piece that we're missing in the community, is taking care of families that take care of veterans. That's what Sean does for me. She is my caregiver. She's registered in the VA Caregiver Program. Once I go off to my 28-day retreat and learn all this cool stuff and how to regulate myself and get through my tough times, my family's sitting back home, sitting in the destruction that I left behind. All my substance abuse, my isolation, just sitting in my stuff. I come out of the program, I go back home, nothing changed at home. So she woke up one morning, my wife Sean, at 5 in the morning, and asked me if we could start a nonprofit. And of course I said, sure, whatever, leave them alone. And she texted me later on that day, no, really. She has this vision of helping the family members do the same things that we get, the veterans get. So how to take care of yourself, resiliency, yoga, mindfulness, everything that we learn, the family member needs to know too. And education on what is post-traumatic stress, what's a brain injury, how do I take care of a wound. I don't know, we did a viewing of the Weight of Honor earlier this year, and it really shows and demonstrates the stress put on family members. Because for every veteran out there, be a homeless vet or a vet like me that has family all around, there's somebody taking care of that vet. And that somebody needs attention too. Because happy wife, happy life, right? If my family can understand what I'm going through, if they can take care of themselves first, they can better take care of me when I really need help. And I think that's a big piece of the community that we've kind of overlooked. And what we need coming up is more funding. We're having a retreat, not a retreat, it's a mental health restorative weekend. We don't want to use the word retreat because we don't take the family members off the spa. We sit them down for a weekend and go through mindfulness, yoga, resiliency. We used the RAND study that was earlier than we're able to go back to work. So we have some success, and we have a lot of positive feedback come out of just that one event, and we want to do more. We want to do, we're going to do 2 this year, 4 next year, and build and build and build. So don't forget about the families when you're thinking about the veteran, because there's something taking care of that veteran. Thanks.
Thank you, Brian. So our final spotlight speaker is from Park University, and it's Sarah Wigan, and she is the assistant director over the Global Warrior Center. So she's going to say a few words about that, but I just want to say that Signature Psychiatric is very proud to be a sponsor of Park University. They're doing wonderful things. We have the development director here, Lorraine Moore, who's awesome. So I'll turn it over to Sarah.
Thank you. So hi everybody, good afternoon. My name is Sarah Wagan, and as Brenda said, I'm the assistant director and the interim director of Parks Global Warrior Center. I am a veteran, and I'm a Coast Guard veteran, so I'm kind of a unicorn. Don't hold it against me, I guess. I won't. Thanks. But I've been with Park. I got my undergrad from Park, and I've worked at Park for 2.5 years in the Warrior Center. And what we do and what our focus is obviously education. And the access to education, so that includes the VA educational benefits, all of them, not just post 9/11. And so we're considered the experts in that field for those VA educational benefits. We are that liaison between the school, the student, and the VA on the education side, which, as you know, with the VA, it can be really difficult. It's not just the medical side that is hard to maneuver, it's also the education side. If you remember back in the fall, they did have a massive backlog because they're trying to change over their computer systems. So we had students coming to us saying, I can't pay my rent, I can't pay for food, I have 3 kids, what am I supposed to do? And we're really there to support and advocate for those students. We support active duty, veteran, dependents, civilians that just have a passion for veterans. Anyone is allowed into the Global Warrior Center to work with us, ask us questions, and help us. It's global because what we do and what we're trying to expand is the idea and the fact that whether you're a Park student or not, if you are military connected, you can call us and we'll help you. So again, mainly that's with education, but if you call me and say, I'm having a really tough time and I don't know who to talk to, we have outreach and we know people that we can get you connected with. Our counseling center is free of charge for our students, and if it is a veteran student that is coming to us with an issue with PTSD, TBI, any of those situations, we do refer out to the Valor program. A lot of times I have students come in, again, they're asking about their VA education benefits because you get money, you get housing, you get book stipends, different things like that. And that's what we try to take care of first and foremost so that they can actually have some money coming in and a livelihood in case they're not working. We kind of navigate the system again, and we also advocate within the school. So, for instance, and this has never happened because Park is a very military and veteran-friendly school. Even though we're private, we give you in-state tuition. If you're out of state or if you're a veteran, you don't have to use the Yellow Ribbon program because our tuition fees are so low. We give active duty discounts for tuition, veteran discounts for tuition, veteran dependent discounts for tuition, active duty dependent discounts for tuition. The list kind of goes on. So what happens is if you came in, the advocacy part, right? If you came in and said, hey, I'm getting deployed, there was a hurricane, and I don't know what to do, and you live in North Carolina, and you're a distant student, you can call me up and say, this is what's going on. I will work between you and your instructor to ensure that your instructor doesn't say to you, that's all well and good, but you failed, because you weren't here, sorry. No. We're that advocate to make sure that those things don't happen. Again, it never has. Our staff and our faculty are amazing, and they're very military veteran friendly. 67% of our students, and that's park-wide, so across the country, are military or veterans. And so we have a huge tie to the military and veterans. We have 42 campus centers total. 35 of them are on a military base. And so we want to support those students, and we believe that education leads to better health all around. So the more you know, the better you are. Or if I'm aging myself here, the more you know, the shooting star kind of from whatever, huh?
Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow. Yeah. And so that's essentially what we do. Again, if they have any questions or issues past that, we will definitely help them out and get them to the right people.
All right, thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
All right, so I am recording this live, and I'm gonna be picking up my little camera. Please don't think I'm weird. But if you need a copy of it to share with the organization later, just email me or go to our Facebook page and you'll get it. So I'm gonna go row by row. I think we have 6 or 7 rows. Not everyone has to stand up if you don't want to, but if you represent a veteran organization that you wanna introduce to us,